The top law enforcement officer in America has reportedly vanished from her own home, seeking refuge behind the fortified gates of an undisclosed military base. And the terrifying question echoing through Washington right now is, what, exactly, is she hiding from? A deafening silence has fallen over the nation's capital. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, is allegedly no longer staying at her private residence. Instead, reports suggest she has relocated to a heavily guarded military installation. She isn't at a luxury hotel. She isn't at a secure private estate. She is reportedly surrounded by military-grade fortifications. And the reason for this unprecedented move is said to be locked inside a government vault right now. 2.5 million unredacted pages of the Jeffrey Epstein files. The deadline for these documents to be released to Congress has officially passed. Instead of handing them over, the woman holding the keys has allegedly chosen a bunker. She didn't stumble into this situation by accident. She was briefed, she knew the federally mandated deadline, and she understood the absolute authority Congress has to demand compliance. Yet the files remain hidden. Because of this, Washington is experiencing a political earthquake. Congressman Shri Thanedar has officially introduced articles of impeachment against the Attorney General. The specific charge is obstruction of Congress, triggered by the withholding of this massive, explosive cache of documents. This isn't just a sternly worded letter or a routine committee inquiry. These are formal impeachment articles introduced on the House floor against a sitting Attorney General. At the exact same time, the House Oversight Committee has voted to compel her testimony. Subpoena power has been activated. A legal trap has been set, and the chief law enforcement officer of the country is reportedly sleeping on a military base to avoid stepping into it. Think about the sheer weight of that image. Washington is a city built on scandals. It has survived midnight document shreddings, high-profile resignations, and executives pleading the fifth. But never in modern history have we seen reports of the nation's top prosecutor abandoning her home for a military fortress while Congress hunts her down with subpoenas. This is not how an official reacts to a simple administrative typo or a missed filing date. Critics argue this is the behavior of someone who knows exactly what those 2.5 million pages contain. It's the behavior of someone who has weighed the political fallout and decided that facing historic impeachment is actually the safer option. She made this calculation in plain sight, knowing the entire world would be watching. By allegedly choosing military protection over constitutional compliance, she is sending a calculated signal. The message is clear: she is holding the line. But the deeper question is, how long can that line hold before Congress physically forces her to the witness table? The media is barely scratching the surface of what these files actually represent. We are talking about the complete, unfiltered evidentiary record of one of the most sprawling federal investigations into elite criminal networks in history. These aren't the sanitized summaries or the heavily redacted court filings we've seen over the last few years. This is the raw data. It contains the names that never made the evening news, the financial trails buried under protective orders, and the private communications between Epstein and individuals who currently manage billion-dollar empires and shape global policy. The deadline passed and she allegedly left town. Let that sequence of events sink in. Inside the House Oversight Committee, the atmosphere is reportedly electric. Sources close to the investigation say lawmakers aren't treating this like standard oversight. They are treating it like a ticking time bomb. Behind closed doors, officials aren't asking if the files will destroy careers. They are asking how many and how close to the very top those names reach. One senior aide, speaking anonymously, described the mood on Capitol Hill as entirely irreversible. Whatever is in that vault cannot be spun by PR teams or managed by crisis consultants. The Attorney General is weighing two devastating outcomes. On one side is a legacy-destroying impeachment trial that will cement her name in the history books for all the wrong reasons. On the other side is the opening of a vault so explosive that a military bunker feels like the better alternative. This calculation alone should terrify every citizen who understands what it implies. And she isn't making this calculation in a vacuum. You don't dare Congress to impeach you without frantic, back-channel conversations with people far more powerful than a cabinet member. The individuals whose financial empires and political futures depend on that vault staying locked are reportedly not sleeping well tonight. They are watching their last line of defense get served with a congressional subpoena. High-profile attorneys in Washington are allegedly begging their clients to stay calm. whispering urgent messages through back channels to simply hold the line. But the walls are closing in rapidly. Defying a congressional subpoena isn't a political maneuver. It is a federal crime. Attempting to ignore it while serving as the head of the Justice Department creates a constitutional crisis, so severe that even the most protected elites won't be able to spin it. The Attorney General cannot govern from a bunker forever. She cannot send lawyers in her place. Eventually, she will have to choose between the impeachment door and the testimony door. Here is the darkest truth that nobody wants to admit. The network documented in those pages didn't magically vanish when Jeffrey Epstein died in a federal cell. The relationships continued. The financial entanglements survived. The powerful figures involved kept accumulating influence, making decisions with the full knowledge that their deepest secrets were sitting in a government vault, waiting for a deadline that just expired. That is why those pages were never meant to see the light of day. A historic showdown is now hurtling toward us, and there is no playbook for what happens next. The timeline is set, the articles are filed, and the subpoena is issued. Soon, the Attorney General will have to sit at a witness table, under oath, with cameras rolling, and answer the one question that has haunted this entire saga from the start. What is in those files that was worth risking everything? The countdown has started, and when the vault finally cracks open, the entire world will realize that the darkest secrets weren't buried in a jail cell. They are sitting in the highest seats of power.